Good morning, world. Good morning. It's up your clock. Where are you all at? Welcome to today's episode of Up You with Ezine. How are you all doing? I hope everybody is good. I hope everybody is good. I hope everybody is good. I am really asking because it's important to me to know that everyone is good and doing great. Yeah? Okay, dokie. So today we are diving into a subject that touches the lives of so many, yet goes unspoken. And that is shame. Mm, shame. Specifically, the shame that can follow traumatic experiences. Mm, when you fall from a height and you're in the mud, that's shame. Or maybe when you have undergone sexual and domestic abuse, mhm, or you're divorced, mhm, or you're sick. mhm. That kind of shame is what we're talking about today. But before we go into that, let's take a moment to reflect. If you or someone you know is grappling with shame or trauma, please know that you're not alone. There is support out here, out there as well, and there is always hope. Always, always hope. It's Up You with Ezine, still your favorite female-centric show, and I'm here to keep you company as usual. So let's do this, my people. Finding self, finding purpose. My name, as always, is Ezine Kufrekanem, and I'm your host. Shame can be incredibly isolating emotion. It can be an incredibly isolating emotion, often making people feel like they are trapped, powerless, and defined by their past. But shame does not have to be the end of the story. Mm-mm. Shame does not have to be the end of the story. It is possible to rise above it, reclaim our identities, and step into a future of healing and empowerment. And that is what we're here this morning to share. And as always, I'm thrilled to have you join us on today's episode. The topic is overcoming the adversity of shame. And today we are honored to have as guest one courageous woman, by any definition of that word, courageous. Our guest today is a survivor of both sexual and domestic violence, and her journey from shame to strength is nothing short of inspiring. She'll be sharing her story, her struggles, and the strategies she's used to rise above the adversity of shame. Please stay with me. Use this time to call in your friends, your sisters, your moms, everyone, every woman who should be on this stream. Please bring them in and then be kind to follow us on all our social media platforms at Up with Ezine on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and X. We'd love to connect with you and keep this conversation going long after this episode has ended. Please like and share the stream. It is one way you help our ministry so we can continue to serve you better and better. The topic today is overcoming the adversity of shame. May I remind you that all episodes of Up You with Ezine are now on our YouTube and podcast channels at Up You with Ezine. Be sure to follow us and don't you miss a thing. Yes, yes, yes. Please welcome, make yourself welcome. Sit down with your cup of coffee, your cup of tea, bring out your notepad and your pen, and let's begin from the beginning, like I like to say. Yes, so if you're just joining us, this is Up You with Ezine, the show, and the topic on the banner is overcoming the adversity of shame. It is time to bring up our guest into the studio. Stay with me. We're live on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Our guest
Our
today
guest
is
today is Olaide
Omosebi,
Omosebi,
a
a
multi-sector
multi-sector
entrepreneur with
entrepreneur
ventures
with
in
ventures in
professional support.
sport.
Like there's something
Like
at
there's
your
something
end
at
is
your end is
echoing.
echoing.
No, it's not here.
What gadget are you
What gadget
Morning.
are
using?
you using?
I'm using the Wi-Fi.
No, is it a
No,
laptop
is
or a
it a laptop
phone?
or a phone?
No, my phone.
Someone close to you
Someone
is
close to
open
you
on
is
this
open
program
on this program
because we're
because
echoing.
we're
Before you
echoing.
came on, I
Before you
wasn't
came on, I
echoing,
wasn't
but now I'm
echoing, but now
echoing.
I'm echoing.
Okay. There's really nothing on my end. Just hold on. Let me mute my mic and check if it's still echoing.
Okay, please. Our guest today is Olaide Omosebi, a multi-sector entrepreneur with ventures in construction support, interior design, maritime, food processing, and general trading. She is the CEO of Doors and More, Ola Stores and Beverages, and owner of Samtila Foods. A survivor of domestic violence, Olaide is a passionate advocate and counselor for abuse victims. Co-founding the Genosis Help Initiative, she's married to barrister Olumide Omoseibi. Dear everyone, world over, please join me to welcome to the show Olaide Omosebi. Morning, Laide. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Great.
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 Good.
Okay, we will
Okay,
go at it
we will
like
go
that.
at it
I
like
think it's
that. I
actually
think
your
it's
mind
actually
that
your
is
mind that is
thinking, but it's fine.
thinking, but
We
it's
will see
fine.
what we
We will
can
see
do.
what we can do.
Wow. Okay. Let's see. Maybe it would be better if I use earpiece or something.
Yes, try your
Yes,
earpiece.
try your
Let's see.
earpiece. Let's see.
Okay. Give me a minute. Let me try that.
Sure, take it. Okay, everyone. While we wait for Lide to come back, it's going to be an explosive conversation. And one thing I've noticed on this show is that anytime that we're going to do something very explosive, some things begin to happen. Because they do not want you to be able to liberate yourself. So some things begin to happen, but we are going to win like we always win. Like, let's test again. Are you
Exactly.
back?
Yes, I'm back. Is it better?
Well, it looks like it's better. We can go with this. The echo is now
Okay.
faint. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Okay, great. Heidi, thank you for being here today and for joining me on this show.
It's a
Um,
pleasure.
you know, After the conference, I was speaking to one of my big sisters, Nkechi Ali Balogun, and as we were talking, she said to me, I would have wanted to talk about the adversity of shame. And I said to her, there you go again. You have all these things you come up with. And I said, okay, permission taken. I'm borrowing that your phrase, adversity of shame, and I'm going to do a show on it. And she granted me the permission. So, NAB, thank you so much. And here we are, Lida and myself, about to do a show now. So, if you're just joining us, this is Up You with Ezine, and the topic is overcoming the adversity of shame. Lide, can you take us back to the beginning of your story? How did
Hmm.
how did your experiences with sexual and domestic violence impact your sense of self?
Well, shame is a very, very tough thing to overcome. Very tough. It diminishes oneself. Your self worth. It makes you feel little. It makes you feel as if you're not good enough. I remember being molested when I was younger, but thankfully I was able to escape before the elderly man actually defiled me. I remember my mom sent me to go and give him something, and he wanted to take advantage of me, and that alone as a young girl really traumatized me. And I remember that the only way I could overcome that, because I couldn't tell anyone. So I decided to become a tomboy, like a mechanism to defend myself. I kind of threw away all the things feminism about me, and became more like a tomboy so that I could defend myself from further situations like that. And that's kind of I built a false wall around myself at that time, and that was how I grew up. Eventually, by the time I got married, I married someone that kind of reinforced that feeling of being little, and began to abuse me physically. And over time, I felt that, look, this is who I am. I'm little. I'm next to nothing, and I had to live like that over the years. And I can tell you that it was really terrible. It was really, really terrible. That was how I grew up from a very young girl till my early 20s when I got married.
Ah, Olaide, we're going to beat this echo any which way, yeah, because a lot of people need to hear this. Thank you for sharing all that with us. It really is a very deep thing you've said. Shame makes you feel small. It makes you feel small. And you begin to now find coping mechanism. For you re-emerged into a tomboy, just to cope with the shame of what you have actually been through. You know, uh, Many survivors like yourself experience profound shame, and it's actually a very traumatic thing. And usually they don't even know that it's shame that is making them do what they do. They take the actions that they consequently take as a result of, you know.
Yeah.
So you're actually very I don't the word escapes me. You're actually a very phenomenal person. Okay. Um could you please tell us how shame manifested in your life after all these experiences? And how did it affect your relationship with others around you and also with yourself?
That's a tough one. Like I said, once you experience such a situation, it's like you become 5 and 6 with shame. And the society does not help. The stigma is so much. I remember I had this weight on me, especially when I separated from my ex, my late husband. Going back home to where I grew up, you can imagine everybody that knew how you grew up, people you've done shakara to, the boys on the streets who are now men that wanted to toast you or were toasting you at that time and you were doing shakara that, oh no, you're too good for them. And then they say you come back home. The Yorubas call it adelebo. That means you've gone and then you come back to your vomit, kind of. So stepping out of my parents' house every morning to go buy things or just go to work, and then you have to, and especially there was no car. I didn't have a car at that time. So I had to walk the length of my street to the bus stop where practically everybody would see me. And you hear things like, oh, Adelebo, she's back home, she's back home, she's back home with all her shakara. It was so much. It was heavy. But at that time, I'll just go to work. At times I work, you just see me crying. People would ask me what the problem is. I won't be able to tell them because the weight was so much. There are some things that you want to say in the society at that time, but people will just shut you down and say, well, what does she have to offer? She couldn't maintain her home. So who is she to talk? That is a big thing, it's a big deal. You are shut down, you are looked down upon when things like that happen to you. It's a huge weight. Your relationship with people becomes enstrained, it becomes difficult, it becomes strained. You become, what's the word now? Like a backbencher. Things that ordinarily you should be able to contribute to. You second guess yourself. If I say this, what will people say? If I do this, how would it, interpret it? So it was huge at that time. It was really huge.
Thank you, Laide. I don't know if you're deliberately making these choices of words or phrases you're using, but they are intense. You said there was a weight. There was a weight on me. Shame put a weight on me. You were already carrying a load of a failed relationship, of domestic abuse, of physical abuse, of sexual abuse. And then shame now came and put a weight on you, further taking you, putting you on the ground. And then you said something else. You said, you begin to second guess yourself. You become a back bencher. These are very graphic. You know me, I am a purveyor of words. So I'm following these, your words, and I'm looking at it and I'm saying, oh my God, nobody should actually cut shame or live with shame because it will certainly weigh you down. Um, and this is a lot of many people who haven't even been through what you've been through, but a lot of people are struggling in the adversity of shame, you know. So I can just imagine you walking down your street and all eyes are looking at you, even though they're pretending they're not looking at you. Some may even be opening their curtains and
Exactly.
looking from the windows, and everybody will be saying, oh, look at her, and all of that, and any other thing they want to say. I'm not sure anybody was blessing you and saying, oh, God bless her, God heal her, and all of that.
Not at all.
And that's what we're supposed to be doing as women, covering ourselves and helping us heal. So, at what point did you decide that you were not going to be a backbencher anymore? At what point did you decide that you were going to throw away the weight and speak up and seek help, if at all you did?
Well, for me, it wasn't any specific situation. It was a combination of situations. I remember,
Mm-hmm.
when the weight of shame was too much. Excuse me, on my street, and I put together a little money and decided I wanted to go and rent a place outside of my parents' house. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I had free house. Why should I? There was no other reason for me to have left other than the fact that the shame was too much. So I decided to go and rent a place. And I remember that everywhere I went, the landlords were not willing to rent me a place as a single mom.
Mm.
Some, even their wives, would tell the husband, don't give her a place. She's a single mom. Maybe they were afraid that their husband will start dating a single mom, or, a woman that has no husband. So it was a huge task, Herculean task, getting a place to rent. It got so bad that I had to now talk to a colleague of mine at work, who had become close to. I said, look, oh boy, come and help me. I need to rent a place. And this is my predicament. This is my problem. So finally, a place that I decided to, that was willing to give me a place, asked for my husband. And I said, my husband does not live in Lagos, he travels. And I had to tell this my colleague to come and pretend that he was my husband. And that was how I got a place to rent. I put so much stress on the guy that, maybe like once every 3 months, I would have to ask him, please, oh yeah, come and visit me. That kind of a thing. So, but it got to a stage that it was lies upon lies upon lies. People asking you where your fake husband is. And I had to cook up a lie. And then when I lie, I would have to remember that lie, you know, that I said. It was too much. It was too much. So it just got to a stage. I said, look, No more lies. You people cannot, you cannot scatter my head. You can kill me. So I started, little by little. It wasn't easy, but little by little. And I started, telling. I remember telling one of our co-tenants. I said, "Look, let me be honest with you. This guy that comes around is not my husband. He's just my friend. He's more like a brother. And this and this and I could, I told her a little of what I was going through. And when I saw the way she still accepted me, you know, I felt a bit relieved. And that gave me, a little courage, to start telling, bits and pieces. I couldn't tell anybody the whole thing, just bits and pieces. And gradually, I released myself from the shackles of that particular stigma. Oh yes, some people still spoke. Some people still talked bad about me behind me. Some people started hiding their husbands from talking to me. Some people told their husbands to stop greeting me, you know. But I just told myself, look, I wasn't going to be bothered. But one other thing that helped me was the fact that every day I look at my kids. I left with 3 children from that abusive marriage. 3 children. And so every day I look at these children and I tell myself, if I allow the stigma and the shame of what people are saying to me to affect me, I'm not going to be true to these children. Because they were growing up and they were saying the lies. For how long will I pretend that I'm dating this guy or I have to bring in different men into the house to show them what? So look, I had to just tell myself, look, I have to be true to my children. They have to know what is going on exactly. And so I was going to accept the fact that I was a single parent or I am a single parent. So it was those two major things that really helped me at that time.
Thank you very much. Two things I get from what you've said. First of all, if you are battling the adversity of shame, you've got to move.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're used to is not where you're supposed to be. So you've got to leave that zone mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and move. Olaide packed up her bag and left her father's house. Free accommodation for her and 3 children. But the talk was too much. The shame was too much. And she did what? She moved. Second thing I hear from Olaide is you can't keep hiding behind the lies. It's okay. You tell yourself the lies to make things feel better, look better. But the truth
Mm-hmm.
is, you can't keep lying to yourself. For her, it took her 3 children to bring her to that point where she says, I won't live a lie any longer. The day you drop the lies, light comes in, and then you
Mm-hmm.
begin to
Very
find
true.
a way to set it right. I am so grateful and thankful for the remnant God left for you. That neighbor of yours that you talked to, who used her rapper to still cover you and call you sister and call you friend. We need to become that person for a lot of people who are going through stuff, you know. And honestly, society, we need to do better. We can't just be
Oh
mouthing, we
yes.
want this, we want that. We want a fairer this one, we want a better this one. And we're stigmatizing people. We don't want to give houses to single mothers, and all of that. What does that even mean? Is it not the same money she's paying that she will pay you? I don't want to go to those who are saying their husband shouldn't talk to you. I don't want to go
It
there.
was,
You know,
no, but it was painful at that time.
uh,
Now it's funny.
yeah, I don't want to go there. Welcome everyone on the stream. I can see you. I can see the comments you're making. Thank you so much. Yes, Twaby, she said it. Shame makes you feel small. And Adebayo Janet, yes, if you're battling adversity of shame, you have to leave. You have to leave that point where that shame happened and then go out and redeem yourself and find yourself and heal yourself and then come back if you have to. Okay, so um coming back to you, Lady. Um, how did sharing your story make you feel?
At first, anytime I shared my story, I wasn't sure how people received it. You know, when I
Yes.
tell bits and pieces of my story and then I go back and I'm asking myself, oh, how will this person see me now? Will this person now look at me like I'm a used good, you know, or I'm damaged goods? I keep going back and feeling bad. But after a while, I realized that the more I shared my story, the lighter I became. You know,
Mm.
once I was able to overcome that, how do people see me after I tell them my story? Once I was able to overcome that hurdle, I realized that I was actually freer. I was lighter. I was lighter. You know, and the phrase "a problem shared is half solved" literally came alive in me. The more I shared my story, the lighter I became, the easier I felt. You know, the weight was just shedding little by little and little by little. And I realized that, oh wow, this actually feels good. And then the top of the icing for me was that maybe after telling somebody my story, it could be weeks later, months later, and somebody calls me and say, Auntie, please, that thing you told me, I'm actually going through something similar. How can I overcome this? How can I do this? Advise me. I was like, wow, this same damaged goods is now the one helping others. And you know, the moment I tell them, okay, let's do it this way, why don't you do it this way? And then they come back to me with, you know, testimonies in quote and say, oh, Auntie, I did this and he helped. Then elderly people, women that were older than I was at that time, will come and say, Laide, ah, this thing that you said, do you know that I didn't want to tell you, but this actually is help happening to me as well. And I'll look at these older women and say, Auntie, you're going through this? And they'll say, yes, Lady. I'll be like, wow. And then I'll talk to them. And then the little me became a helper to the big aunties. That really helped me. That was a turning point for me. That was a huge turning point for me. So it became easier to share my story. You know, when people come with me with specific issues or problems, I will dig into my archive and share my own experience that is, you know, actually similar to what they're going through. It was as if God had prepared me. You know, I'd gone through almost everything, you know, different things that would help different people at different times. And that was how, you know, it was easy for me to overcome that silence. You know, there's something I call the fallacy of silence. I think I spoke about it at the conference. You see, there's this thing, silence. They tell you to keep quiet and keep quiet and keep quiet and keep quiet. Oh, don't say that. I remember people telling me, even when I shared, my family members would tell me, like, you don't say that. Don't tell people that again. Don't say this. Don't say that. People will look at you and say you're not good enough. Once I overcame that lie, that silence, that fallacy of silence, it was a relief. And I realized I was able to help a lot of women that were keeping quiet. When they hear me talk, then they have the courage to also talk. So it was a huge relief for me.
Whoa. Whoa. I don't know whether I'm the host or I'm actually also learning, because right now all that is going on in my head is God. All that is going on in my head is, what internal conversations are you having in your head about yourself?
Mm,
Do you see? Part of the shame that we bear, that we carry, is actually the conversation we're having in our heads. Lydia used to tell herself that she was damaged goods. Hello. How? God hasn't called you that. Why are you branding yourself that? Whoever you are. Oh, wow. Somebody says, Oyinfadoju says, Olaide is my classmate from secondary school. I love you, my girl. Shout out to your girl, Laide.
Thank you,
Okay,
darling.
so that conversation that you're having in your head that we think we don't hear, it affects you. Do you see? Olaide was having those conversations in her head. I am damaged good. Damage that she did not cause by herself or herself. But that's how she was seeing herself. But thank God she decided to take that baby step. That reminds me of what Kiro Lumidojo said to us at the conference. Baby, walk yourself out of your situation. So thank God you took that baby step of going to talk to your neighbor and then talk to somebody else and then talk to somebody else. Look at how we are talking about it today. And look at the testimony
Yeah.
you ended your conversation, that pause with. I have been able to help a whole lot of women. You know, someone once said to me that the things we go through is not solely for us, it's for us to be able to share them and use them to heal some other persons when they're going through. And you are
Very
a
true.
real testament to that. Because I can assure you that every time I speak with you, I hear your story. Oh my goodness, it's all so fresh. It all brings a new insight and a new perspective, and healing takes place. Um, your Onyi says you're a strong woman. I say you're a phenomenal woman, and so thank you. So speaking up, like you said, helped you to begin to find ease, to begin to feel lighter. And what my mind is telling me is that the guilt or the shame started leaving you. The fangs he put inside you, the fangs of shame started, becoming lesser and lesser
Yes,
every
sir.
time you spoke about it, because the fallacy of silence, like you talked about, makes you believe that if you don't talk, you're safe. But if you don't talk, you're internalizing, and one day you will implode. So I'm grateful that you found that and you started to use it. Yeah. What would you say is the turning point in your healing journey? I know it's been how long now? 17 years or more?
More.
Or did you say 27? More, right?
20. Yes, more. 20. Uh, my first one is 27, so it's been like 27 years.
So it's been a journey of 27 years. So we're not here saying to anybody, look, healing will come to you overnight. Laide has been walking this walk for 27 years to get to this point where she can talk about this without any pain or rancor or any fear or anything at all. Yeah. So, but tell us, Laide, what was the turning point in your healing? Yeah. Was there a specific event, person, or realization that allowed you to let go of shame and to start reclaiming your power?
Like I said earlier, for me, it was actually my children that helped me. Different things happen to me, but when I look at my children, they give me the strength. And there was a time I had an accident, a terrible accident. I think that's about 2006. I had a terrible, very fatal accident. And I was unconscious for a couple of days. But the people at the site of the accident told me, because I had two of my friends in the car with me, but I was the only one severely injured. The others escaped with minor injuries. And they told me that the only thing that kept coming out of my mouth was that, take care of my children, take care of my children. I was calling my children's names, that I was mentioning them by names. The car, it was a head-on collision. So the car had crushed me. They had to cut part of the car to bring me out. I was unconscious, but I think before I became fully unconscious, said the only thing I kept saying was my children, my children's names. After that accident, I, I was my boss at that time was quite nice. She allowed me to work from home and everything. But when I left that job, got to another job, my boss was a terror. And the fact that I was a single mom, anytime I did anything wrong, he kept, you know, using that to talk me down. I mean, to talk down at me. Oh, you're good for nothing. You're actually worthless. You can't even do anything right. And I just sat down one day and told myself, like, you're actually beautiful. You're wonderfully made. You're making millions for this boss. You're making millions, huge millions for him. Because I had to sit down and do an internal audit. You're right. The things we do in our head, in our mind, decides whether you're going to remain on the ground or you're going to get out of it. So at that point in time, it was as if he pushed me to the wall, and I had to do a rethink and say, what have you done for this company? I started listing everything I'd done. You remember there was I think it was in Olumide Nkirejo. Somebody said we had to have a wall of
Accolades. Yes.
accolades. And I started thinking, one by one. Okay, in 3 months, what did you achieve for this company? In 6 months, what did you achieve? In 1 year, what did you do? I started seeing myself, and then I remembered there was one huge task that even all other colleagues told my boss that we cannot do this thing. It's not possible. And that if there's anybody that could do it, it will only be Olaide. And God helped me. I went in for that meeting. I came back to my boss with a trump card, with a success card. And so when I sat down and thought about all these things that I achieved for the company, I told myself, one, I was going to resign because I was better than that company. Two, I told myself that I wasn't going to take my boss's bullshit any longer. And that was a huge turning point for me. I'm talking about just about 8 years ago. This happened just about 7, 8 years ago. So it was still recent. I told myself, look, I've gone through bullshit for the past 20 something years. I was tired. So it was actually him that God used to push me to that point, to finally say, enough is enough. That was a turning point in my. So at that point in time, when I listed all my accolades, isn't it? When I listed all my accolades, at that point I realized that look, like you're far from where you're coming from. You're actually a great girl. Don't let anybody put you down. Don't let this guy tell you nonsense. Because I can tell you that shortly before that time, I only told my close friends this. Shortly before that time, isn't it? I used to look at myself like a piece of rag, not just damaged goods any longer. I'd gone from damaged goods to a piece of rag that anybody could just wipe his or her feet on. That was the way I was on the inside. On the outside, I dress up, I look nice, I walk tall. Everybody sees a phenomenal woman. But on the inside, I was a piece of rag. I was a complete mess until 8 years ago when this guy, after 8 years of his own bullshit, because I worked with him for about 8 years, after 8 years of his bullshit, I realized that no, 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 I'm actually better than this. I looked at my children. My baby was 2 years when I left my abusive marriage. And my first son was 7. And I trained them. God had helped me. I trained them. I look at them and they've turned out really nice. And then some guy tells me I'm useless. So, I was weighing the two. It was just not balancing. It was not balancing. I look at my kids, I've done really well with them. And then somebody tells me I haven't done anything. And I look at my wall of accolades and all that I've done for the company, all that I've done for my children, all that I've done for other women. I told myself, look, you can't give what you don't have. If I continue to feel like a piece of rag, there was no way I was going to help these women survive what they were going through. And that was it for me. That was it.
Whoa. So sometimes what I hear is that sometimes that person pushing you that you do not like, that person treating you in a way that you do not like, may just be the person pushing you into your destiny. All you have to do
Exactly.
is pause, go inside of you. See, everything is inside of you, nothing is coming from outside. So you go inside of you and dig up your self worth. You see, Laide said to us that she did an internal analysis. You know, the way they tell us to do SWOT analysis, you say what is your strength, what is your weakness, what is, but she did an internal analysis and say, come, this girl, who exactly are you? And what have you really been doing for this company? And by the time she finished this one, she had built for herself a wall of accolade. Honestly, we must continue to give Nkiri Dojo her flowers for teaching us women to build wall of accolades. For those of
Mm-hmm.
you who were not at the conference, a wall of accolades simply means you put up a wall, not a mental one, no, a
A
physical wall,
physical.
as in paint one in your house if you can paint it, or create one yourself and put it on your phone as your screensaver of everything you have done very well in your life. From the day you can remember till the day you start building that wall, put every accomplishment. And then when you look at those your accomplishments, then let's have that conversation with yourself why you think less of yourself, because nobody accomplished those things but you. So if you accomplished
Exactly.
everything on your wall of accolades, why do you feel small? Why do you feel like a piece of rag? Why do you feel unseen? Why do you feel unheard? Why are you letting silence kill you? Why are you succumbing to societal pressures of defining yourself by things that happened to you, which are not you, which should not be you, which should not define you? If you don't take anything away from here today, please take away building a world of accolades for yourself and having that internal conversation. Everything is already on the inside. It's a question of when you are ready and when the time is right. You dig in and you dig out. Yes? So, Lide, I'm happy you did that. And then when you saw you were making millions for another person, your mind said, huh? What am I doing here? What's up
Exactly.
with this? And in less than 8 years, I mean, when I was reading your profile, I was like, what? Multi-sector entrepreneur, ventures in construction support, interior design, maritime, food processing, general trading. You're not wasting any more time. It's almost like you're saying, you know what? I wasted 27 years already, so let's play catch up, isn't it? Oh my,
Exactly.
you just got speed from nowhere and you've taken off. That's very interesting. Um, the thing is, I don't even know whether to make excuses for the people or just go on matter of factly, but society actually imposes harsh judgments on survivors of any circle. At first, they might just, empathy. Initially, they will start with empathy. Oh, you're going through this stuff and stuff. But eventually, it will even shock you that it is the people that you do not expect, that you think know better, that will label you.
Very true.
That woman that left her husband. They will now not tell the story of how abused you were, or that one that had children out of weight. They have a nice name now for it, baby mama. Or,
Exactly.
yeah, they've coined a nice name, so, and all of that and all of that, you know. So they label people, they impose all these harsh judgments without knowing the whole story, 360 degrees, and it makes it terribly harder for survivors to survive. Because, see, it is one thing that you have been through abuse. It's another thing that you're trying to even understand how you got there, and then you're even trying to find out how to go on from here. Then they now put shame on this one, shame on that one, and this one and that one, inability to rent a house, and somebody is abusing you verbally at work. And see, so it becomes like a legion, multitude of things fighting your mental state, and most people will opt to stay down in shame than rise up to fight. So I commend you again. And I'm going to say to you, how did you, and I want you to give me practical things now that people listening can do. How did you navigate societal pressures? And what advice will you give to others who are still in that murky societal pressure water who need to come out?
That's a tough one because it depends on individuals. But I'm going to tell you what I did. First, I focused on work. I told myself if I couldn't have a successful marriage, I was going to be successful in life. Coupled with the fact that I had three mouths to feed, so I had no choice. And I don't know how to beg. Even when I was married, it was difficult for me to ask my husband for money. I don't know how to beg. So I first of all listed out my weaknesses. I knew I couldn't beg. I wouldn't prostitute. I won't steal. So I had to look for money. And when I got work, I made work one of my main focus that I was going to work. So the talks were there, but I was trying to compensate with work. At least you look at me and you see a successful woman. I was one. Two, along the line, I didn't know about support groups like we have now, like at the Nurses Help Initiative, we help, victims of domestic violence and all that. So, there's a support group of women that we've helped. They've come together. And so, but then I didn't know, we didn't have any support group, or I didn't know of any. What I did was God helped me. I found a couple of friends who were doing similar things. I had a friend that was also into interior decoration, and she had similar issues. She also had three kids. We became close, very close. We are still close right now. And along the line with her, some of my other friends, we kind of formed a group. And when people tell you that, what's the adage now? Birds of the same feather flock together. And they tell you that don't, they say it as if it's a bad thing. But in my situation, it was actually a good thing. I met with a couple of women that had similar issues. And instead of us sitting down and moping or crying or throwing a pity party, we became a very formidable strength. We had the strength and we're encouraging each other. So that was my support system at that time. You know, we, we made it a habit. Anytime any one of us gets a contract or gets a new job, we all call each other. We meet on the island. I remember that time it was at Debonia's Pizza. I don't know if that pizza, whatever, is still there on Adiola. We sit down there. We just order pizza. We talk about, we celebrate whoever at that point in time had the breakthrough, no matter how little. One, it was an escape for us. It was a way of escape for us. We'll sit down till late at night. We would gist, we would eat, we would drink, no matter how little. And we'll now talk about the next step. Oh, yeah, you've gotten this contract. Okay, what are you doing there? Okay, how can you help this person? For example, if I got a contract to supply doors, my other friend will say, Laide, you are already supplying the doors at that site. Oh, yeah, now, what can you do for me? I'll say, okay, maybe you do interior. I will tell the client, I have a friend that does interior. Oh, I have a friend that sells beddings, and we were helping each other, even financially. If one was there and say, babe, I don't have money, I need to do this in the house, we'll put money together and help each other. It was a support system. So I tell people, find a support system. No matter what, find a support system. It is going to help you. Because at the time that I was doing everything on my own, talking to myself alone, I was going mad. I was beginning to hear voices. But when we sit together and I say, babes, see what I'm going through, this happened, blah, 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 blah. This one will say I own, this one will say I own. I will pick what works for me and discard the rest. And it was a great help at that point in time. So I tell people, practical things, find a support system. Whether you are going to a therapist, You are going to your church pastor, whatever, you are going to an NGO, find a support system. It is very, very, very key. That's one practical thing. Number two, overcome your shyness. Overcome your shyness. If you don't, you're going to die. Depression will set in. Yes, you will die. Because depression is a killer. Is real. People used to say that depression is for Oyibo people. Forget it. Oh. There is depression. I've experienced it. I've had my share of depression. I've tried at one point or the other, to to just end it all. So finding that support system helps. Overcoming your shyness helps. It is difficult. Then you have to develop a thick skin. I remember my boss used to tell me that time, hey, you better go and develop a thick skin. They'll be talking to you, you'll be crying. I realized that, okay, I was going to I was going to develop a thick skin. Sorry, I was going to develop a thick skin, and it helped me. Developing a thick skin, overcoming my shyness, having a support group, and not throwing pity parties. A lot of us throw pity parties. A lot of us throw pity parties. We want people to keep telling us, hey, yeah, sorry. Hey, yeah, hey, yeah, hey, yeah. You don't need it. It's not helping you. It's not helping you at all. So for me, those were my practical steps. Those were the things that helped me to overcome, this stigma.
Wow. Again, I say wow. So first, get busy. Like it says, get busy. Do not stay down. Get busy. Find something to do. Immerse yourself, your mind in doing something every day. Second, like it says, get a community of people that can hold your hand as you baby walk yourself out of your situation. I particularly love your group of women. I love your support system. I love the fact that you used to get together and celebrate every win because that's something we don't do. We wake up and we say, it's not big enough to celebrate. See this me, I celebrate waking up now. I think it was the day before yesterday. Also, I put on Facebook, Lord, thank you for this morning's laughter. That was me celebrating laughter. If you don't know where I'm coming from, you won't know where I'm going to, but celebrate every win, every win. That one you call small is some other person's big win. Learn to celebrate every win. So your group got it right. I wish people had called me that time because the pizza, I would have just been eating the pizza, man.
And chicken wings.
I would have just been eating the pizza and feeling good with myself. And then Lide goes on to say again that you must overcome your shyness. That thing that makes you say, don't talk, don't reach out, don't make friends. It's amazing. People say I'm too old to make friends. No, it's something keeping you down from making friends. There's no age limit to making friends. And Lide also says, a problem shared is a problem half solved. And then she, of course, says, don't throw a pity party. The truth is, if you want to come out of shame or any other kind of adversity at all, don't throw a pity party. People may indulge you first time, second time with your pity party, but after a while, they get bored. They don't want to uh, be part of your crying and pitying yourself all the time. People are attracted to power. They're attracted to action. They're attracted to. So if you keep, and honestly, you to think about it yourself, you're even tired of yourself. That's why you're even inside depression somewhat, because you're tired of the stories you've been telling yourself internally. So you can imagine what the next person is also feeling. So let's learn to do what? Not to throw those pity parties often. I'm not saying you won't throw them, but don't throw them often. Be conscious and don't throw them often so that you can get the help that you seek. Yeah, when you need it. Lady, thank you for those practical steps. I think everybody can action on them. If you are on the stream, please help us write them down so that those coming after you will also see them as the practical steps that they can use and run. And that thing you said about depression, it is very, very key. You know that a lot of I was reading up before this show, and I saw that a lot of people have died out of shame. Yeah, out of shame. They brought on depression. Shame brought on depression, and then they died because they couldn't speak to anyone. They couldn't reach anyone. They couldn't integrate themselves back into normal flow of life. We don't have to die cheaply now. We know that we're all going to die one day, but let's not make it cheap for that. Mm? Let's not make it cheap for that. Let us fight as much as we can. So, I was going to ask you if you had any organization, but you've answered that by saying it was your group of friends, and all of that. I think all of you together should form an NGO because you people, you don't reach now.
Right?
You don't reach now.
Yes.
You actually have the more credentials than some that are out there already. So
Mm-hmm.
now that you got to that point of healing, of course, you remember Shola Smart Stewart at the shocking at the conference. She said that a little alert every day, helps take away some kind of stuff. So by this time, you're making money now. You're celebrating your wins now. So therefore, as the alerts were coming in, how was that making your self worth feel?
Was increasing now. Before
Ah,
Uncle.
this is the first time you didn't say that's a tough one. Every question I put to you today, you started with that's a tough
Ah,
one.
no, this one wasn't tough. This one was nice.
Oh my goodness.
Listen,
So that is
no,
awesome.
it,
A little
it was
alert
nice.
always helps us all the time. Yeah.
Exactly.
So tell us about the process of rebuilding your self worth. The process of rebuilding your self worth. There's something I read up about self forgiveness. Because there's a school of thought that says that, oh, sometimes we see the red flags and then we ignore the red flags and we get into the stuff by ourselves. Yeah. And so it therefore says that for whatever it is we go through in life, we have some kind of, we should take some percentage of responsibility for it. So as you were healing and building your self-worth back, did you do self-forgiveness?
Yes, I did. I did. Um, I realized that I had a part to play, in all of this.
Hmm.
I realized I had a part to play. It's not easy accepting that at first. But when you sit down, when you're doing your internal audit, you need to ask yourself deep questions, pertinent questions, no matter how difficult the questions might be. I had to ask myself, okay, how did I get into this? What happened? Where did I get it wrong? I realized where I got it wrong, which was from the beginning. My reasons for going to that marriage were wrong. Totally. You know, I felt so, and in retrospect, looking back, I realized that at that point in time, I was telling myself that, yeah, I was better than some other people. But in actual fact, I told myself that to make myself feel better because I was actually feeling low. You get it. So
Hmm.
I told myself, oh, I didn't want to play around. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do that. It was just because somebody had given me small attention that I was seeking for. So I entered into the marriage. So, when I sat down and started asking myself these questions, I realized that my reasons for going to the marriage in the first place was wrong. I started, answering the tough questions and I realized my part in them. That was the first thing. So where I needed to ask God for forgiveness, I went before him and asked for that first. And I came back to myself. I said, okay, Olaide, oh yeah, forgive me. I started asking myself for forgiveness. Olaide, forgive me for putting you through this. Olaide, forgive me for putting you through that, for making you go through all of this and all of that. So when I did that, to be honest with you, it was like somebody poured cold water on me. I was now able to take some steps without feeling bad. You know, I must say this. It's not as if it's a one-off thing. You forgive yourself on a daily basis. Because I can tell you, the society is harsh. When you think you're forgiving yourself something, the society will come back and, they just throw something at you. And you think you've taken one step forward. You actually take 10 steps back when they throw that thing at you. But you have to remember that, oh, I've forgiven myself for this thing. So I'm not going to let any other person bring that sin in quotes before me again. It's like you commit a sin before God. You've asked God for forgiveness. You know He has forgiven you. And then Satan comes and says, oh, you did this and did this when you were, the Bible tells you that He has forgiven you. So you shouldn't allow Satan to bring it before you again. So that was what I was doing. Anytime the society or anybody comes and says, oh, this happened, this is happening now because of what you did those years ago, I'll tell them, okay, yes, I know, but what's the way forward? Because inside of me, I tell myself, I've forgiven myself and God has forgiven me. Okay, so Ogbeni, what's the next thing? Okay, so how do we move from here? I begin to look at it like a business transaction. I go to site and maybe one of my workers have done something wrong, have installed something wrongly. Instead of crying over spilled milk, I ask myself, okay, so what's the next step? So forgiveness is key. It's a different thing for God to forgive you for whatever sin you think you've committed, but it's a whole different ball game for you to forgive yourself. Because if you don't forgive yourself, that's where that depression sets in. The depression I spoke about earlier. That's what brings depression. Because you keep telling yourself you failed, you failed, you failed, you failed, you failed. But once you forgive yourself, then depression has no way has no business in your life, and then you can move forward. And I keep saying this. One thing I'm eternally grateful for are my children, especially now that they are all grown up. I look at full blooded, grown ass man, my first son or my second son. And that time they come and say, they just give you a hug and say, ah, mom, you tried, you tried. I remember when you used to do this. I remember when you used to yell at us. Things that I did that they didn't understand at that point in time. They're now coming back to give me accolades for it. It helps me to forgive myself daily. Daily. It's like affirmations. Daily affirmations. There are times I'll call, if they are not around, I'll call them. I'll say, hi, how are you doing? I'm not here for me. I'll say, mom, we love you. They end with, mom, I love you. Oh, mom, I love you. Mom, you know that I'm going to take care of you. And even though I tell myself I'm not really expecting anything from them, those affirmations help. But if you've not forgiven yourself, you cannot even accept those affirmations. It will be as if somebody is lying to you. Because inside you're still telling yourself that you're not good for anything. I hope you understand. You get where I'm going to, right? What I'm talking about. It helps. So you have to forgive yourself. It's really, really important.
Thank you very much. I was carried away as you were talking because self forgiveness is something that we don't talk about a lot. We tend to all the time act the victim, act as if We are saints, and every other person involved in our dramas, adversities, or our life episodes and everything are the valiants. You know, um, like they always say, it takes two to tango. And so we must always come to that point where we do what? We sit down, we take a pause, and we learn to forgive ourselves. I found this happened, let me just quickly share. A couple of years ago, a friend of mine, she was diagnosed with cancer, and she used to live abroad at the time. And the doctors, Oyibo doctors for that matter, told her that she's carrying a whole lot of unforgiveness inside, a whole lot of unforgiveness. And so that she should go back and begin to forgive herself first and then forgive those who hurt her. It was a journey. It was a journey. I know she just started that journey of forgiveness, and it culminated in her inviting all her friends from all over the world. We all met in her native country, and we did a journey tracing everywhere that she ever felt a hurt. And we're going there, and she was speaking into the universe. I forgive you. I also forgive myself. It took a whole week. And after that week, she went back to her base. And 1 year later, she was cancer free. She had healed herself by letting go. So, why am I sharing this story? To buttress what you said and to tell some other woman on the stream today, maybe all you need to extricate yourself from the webs of shame that is holding you down, adversity of shame, is for you to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I forgive myself. I do not know where Lydie has gone, but she's certainly going to come back to finish this show. So I'm going to call her to come right back into the studio. She's not escaping to anywhere. So let me quickly send her a message that the network has tripped her out, and then have her come back. And then I continue what I was saying. So it's important that you forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for your part in whatever happened, if any. Forgive yourself for the thoughts you have actually had in your head about the whole thing. Forgive yourself the resentment. Forgive yourself for holding yourself down for as long as you did. And then begin to thank God that you came to. You know how they say it in the Bible, that when the prodigal son came to, so you thank God that you have come to, and then you begin to take back your superpower, which has always been there. It didn't go anywhere, but because you were overwhelmed by shame, you didn't even realize it was there. So you begin to take it back and call it into action so that you can bring yourself out of all of this. And like Lydia said, if you have to do it on a daily basis, do it on a daily basis until you are sure that you have truly forgiven yourself. So that when society comes, when even I come and throw it at you, you say, you know what, I'm done past that junction where you are at. What's next? Like Lydia said. Yeah? If treating it as a business venture, like a business exercise, like Lydia did, will make it work for you, do that. See it as a business transaction. Hey, what's next? Well, we've left that chapter. So let's move on. Okay? Thank you. Lydia, honestly, it shows, because today you are a symbol of resilience and strength. A lot of your friends are on the stream, and they have attested to the fact that you're a strong woman and that you have really been through the fire and that you're triumphing in adversity. You were well received at the conference. I don't even want to ask you about the conference, because you'll just be like, okay, I'm just fishing, because I know. I don't even want to ask you, did you enjoy the conference? Was it a good one? But you were well received at the conference. And trust me, the feedback I have is that a lot of women were healed. And I'm sure a lot of women have come back to you post conference to say to you, thank you for sharing. Um, so when I see you, I I marvel at your strength because you're very petite. You're very demure, very cutesy, like they say. Yeah. So this strength is not a function of how big somebody is, it's a function of how resilient your mind is. And so I salute your courage today. Okay. And I'm going to say to you, what message do you have for people, other survivors of any kind of adversity that are struggling with shame? Can you give them hope today?
Well, I'm going to say this: don't give up.
Like they says, don't give up.
Don't,
Somebody please put that in the stream.
don't ever give up, no matter where you are. Um, I can say this that I've been to the lowest of lows, lowest, and I could have easily died. I mean, I was this close, but I didn't give up. So don't give up. Don't. In fact, that's the only thing I want everybody to go on with. Once you don't give up, something would happen. Something, someone, somewhere. God will just send someone to you. Or you just be going and just meet someone or just see something that will just change your life. Do you understand? That's it. Don't give up. You could be just walking on the street. Once you have not given up, your internal eyes would open and you will see an opportunity. You will see where you can come in, how you can better your life, no matter how small. But once you've given up hope, even if they put billions in front of you, you won't know how to use it. Even if you have the whole community ready to help you, once you have given up on yourself, you won't be able to do anything. And once you give up, nobody can help you because there's little or nothing one can do without your permission. So don't give up. It's never too late to start afresh. I remarried at well over 40. At over 40 is when I knew the true meaning of marriage. I married a man that had never been married before. Never. He's never been married before. Yes, he's a single, I mean, he was a single father. He had one kid, but he had never been married before. So I call him Chacha. I call him my new chassis. And I accepted me with 3 grown children. I mean, people were surprised. I didn't give up. I didn't give up on life. I didn't give up on love. I didn't give up on help. As I am, I still accept help from people because I still need help. I still take advice from people, friends, families, because I don't give up. I'm not giving up on life. I'm still going to be bigger and better than this. So please don't give up. Don't give up on anything. Don't give up on your children. Don't give up on love. Don't give up on finances. Don't give up on yourself. And you'll be amazed at what God can do. So that's my parting word.
I wish this interview was ending here because it is a very profound note, but you have said something that is going to make me, that is making me extend it. You got married at over 40 to a new cha cha cha. Where is that woman that shame is killing, that thinks that she cannot remarry? Did you hear what she said? It is, in fact, there's another one you said that says it is only with, it can, things will only happen with your permission. So you need to tell God what exactly you want. And you see, it has to be after you've forgiven yourself and made peace. Then you can look at your new self and say, what do I want? And then you write God the list. The universe, God, Allah, however you call him, is ever ready and prepared to meet your honest, heartfelt demands. You just don't know it. And that's why you're not asking. If you ask, it will come. And normally, this our God, no, this my God, let me talk about the one I know. This my God is in the business of giving you double for your shame. And he's in the business of restoration. So she was in an abusive marriage that she got into very young, still a student. She got into marriage believing, okay, I don't want to mess up, I don't want to have many boyfriends, I don't want to. So she said, let me just go and be a wife and a mother. And then it turned out not good. When it was time for recompense, please say it again, you married a what?
Cha cha.
You
Cha
married
cha.
a cha-cha. Cha-cha never been married. So the narrative or the narration in the society does not have to apply to you if you do not give it permission that it should apply to you. Girl, thank you very much. This also, I'm now referring to all the speakers. You see, I listened very well at that conference. This also brings to mind what Eden A. Onwuka said. Do not give up on yourself before the time. Don't grieve a life that is just about to take off. See, what happened to you is a bend. It's not a full stop. It's a comma in the story. And that story is episodic. You know how they have movies, episode 1, episode 2. It's only the comma is in only one episode. The next episode does not have to continue with the comma. Wow. Wow. Don't give up. Me, I put my hand on my chest and I affirm to you today, I will never give up. Wherever you're listening to us from, please put your hand on your chest and say to yourself, I will never give up. I mean it. Because I've come to understand that the devil doesn't kill anybody. Mm-mm. It is you. After he's throwing many, many things at you, it is you that will now say, I'm tired. Then you now say, you see, she's tired. Let's take her out. But the moment you continue to show up to fight, even the devil will look at you one day and say, I beg, let me go and look for another person. This one is, yeah, Hawahala is too much. So this is a very, very key piece of advice. No matter what you're going through, don't give up. Just keep going through. And don't let shame you. See, take away the sting of shame from you. Tell your story yourself first. If I tell you I'm a thief and you come back and call me a thief, do you think I can be ashamed? It's not possible now. Let me tell you. So what are you going to tell me again? So women, we need to learn how to tell our own stories, own our stories, repent from our mistakes, repair our lives, and then keep moving on. Shame should not keep any woman shackled. And having said all that, I want you to leave us on a super high. What are your next steps, Lady? In terms of your healing, in terms of your growth, in terms of advocacy, in terms of your continuing to inspire us. We hope that it's not that you just came now and you just told us a few things at the conference and we are loving it, we're learning from you, and then we've managed to bring you on the show again, and then tomorrow we're looking for Lady. Lady has gone back to all her ventures. Lady, what's your plan going into the future?
Well, first thing, which is what I'm working honestly on, is to enjoy life to the fullest, especially with
I
my
love this.
husband.
I'm on your bandwagon.
I'm going to enjoy life to the fullest for as long as God gives me life on this earth. That is my intention. I'm going to remain happy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
Very
going to
important.
allow anybody to bring their bullshit to me.
Mm-hmm.
Once you bring your bullshit, I tell you, take it back. I give it back to you. So that is what I'm honestly working every day on, to be happy, to
Mm-hmm.
enjoy my life. So I tell people, well, it's one day at a time, but that one day, I'm going to live it to the fullest. So when I
Mm.
wake up the next day, I tell God, thank you, I'm alive. Okay, we
Let's
move.
really.
Yes. I mean, it's so ingrained in me to the extent that I even told my husband, I said, oh boy, I'm going to enjoy life. Oh, are you with me on this or not? And he would just laugh. He would say, we gather day. That's what he would tell me. Say, I know we gather day. So that is my continuous plan. In terms of business, I want to, God help me increase, be better, become billionaire, a billionaire. I don't want to be a millionaire alone. I want to be a billionaire.
You've been a millionaire for a long time now.
Now, so I want to become a billionaire now. I want to be a billionaire. Billions, billions. So that is the next. So while I'm working to become a billionaire, it must be, in tune, in line with my being happy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The money is not going to come first.
Yes.
I want
So
to be
you're
happy, but while I'm
deciding
working, I
to stand
must.
on the altar of your being happy, fully happy.
Yes, yes. So I'm telling you, those are my two things. So, like you said, it's not going to be in the next 5 years or 10 years, and you're looking for Lady. No, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be successful, and I'm going to carry along as many women as God gives me the grace to, because that's what's going to really, really make me happy. That's what's going to make me feel fulfilled. As many women as I can carry along is what I want to. So those are my targets for the rest of my life.
Thank you, Lady. I'm going to let you go, but I think it would be unfair that we didn't talk about genosis. Did I call that name right?
No, it's called gnosis. The G is silent.
You see? Thank God I came to ask. So, gnosis. I don't
Yes.
think it's right that we spent an hour plus. We talked about everything and we didn't talk about gnosis. You co-founded gnosis with your husband,
Yes, I
and
did.
it is a place where you advocate and counsel abused victims. Could you please tell us just a bit about it and then leave us with how people can find you so that they can
Okay.
continue to get the healing that they require?
Okay. So thank you so much for that, Izini. At Gnosis Help Initiative, what we do is help take out people from abuse, help them survive abuse. It's not really about, it's not about destroying marriages. No, not at all. It's about helping victims, people that are thoroughly and daily abused. A lot of women are being abused on a daily basis. So we counsel them, and if it needs to get to either the police or the state government or to the courts, we take them by the hand and help them get there, get them justice for the abuse they've been through. And also, we have like a support system for them, those that are out of the abuse, those that we've successfully helped to come out of the abuse. We help them, ask the question, what next? There's a program we have yearly. We call it Above Abuse. Unfortunately, we're not able to have it last year, but we had it 2 years ago, and we're going to have it this year. Above Abuse, what next? Then there's also what we have, the Purple Curtain. It's every third Saturday of every month. It's held in Surulere at the Rose of Sharon place in Surulere. There, people come, victims come to ask questions, how to get out of abuse, how to navigate abuse, and what to do after abuse. These are just some of the things we do. But for most people, we help them get justice for abuse and get out of that abusive situation. We handle cases of even defilement because even nowadays, children are abused. We handle cases of child defilement, rape, physical abuse, sexual abuse, psychological abuse. A lot of people go through psychological abuse where they are so afraid. The abuser have made them so afraid, you know, threaten them with death in some cases. We help them overcome that. And if need be, we put them on the path where they can talk to therapists and get out of those traumas. That is what Gnosis Help Initiative is all about.
Thank you
We help
very
men
much.
as well. We help
Thank you
men as
very
well.
much. Yeah. Thank you very much. So this is help for men and women alike, and children as well, as she has highlighted. So where can we find you?
The office is at 229 Haba Macaulay Way, Yaba. You can reach us on 0909 321 4942. We're also on Instagram because my husband anchors a program every Saturday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Nigerian Info. So you can follow, you can tune in every Saturday morning. So there's this relationship 360 that we do every Saturday. So you can find us on Instagram, on Facebook. You can call that number, or you can just come to the office. But it's better you call before you come to the office because most time we're either at the police station, the court, or at the gender-based violence office in Ikeja.
Okay, thank you. Now, Lady, I'm going to ask that you please, after the show, type all these under the comments, either on Facebook, in fact, in both Facebook and YouTube, so that people can easily find you. I like the fact that you said we're either at the police station or at the GBV office in Ikeja. That means that you are a hands-on practical help agency, as the name implies. So thank you very much and for coming on the show today. I'm going to close by saying to you that there's a message here from um, Biodun, and Biodun says, "I have learned a lot from you today." you know. And then she goes on to say she met you at the conference, she liked you at the conference, she has even learned a lot more now, and she's definitely going to build her wall of accolades. And I think Biodu will be speaking for all of us. Yes, the message just came up. It just says, "Awesome woman. I'm grateful for the opportunity to hear you, Laide, again. I respect you and have learned something today. I'm making my wall of accomplishments." So I believe that Abiodun Oluwake is speaking for every single one of us, and I will be joining her to say thank you, Laide. I learned quite a lot today, and I'm glad that people who are on the stream have learned, and I believe that people who will come after will also learn a thing or two from you. It's been a pleasure talking with you, everyone on the stream and those coming after. Let's keep this conversation going on social media, and remember that there is help. Lide has mastered her pain, processed it, and has gone above the shame and is living her life triumphantly. But she didn't stop that. Even though she wants to keep enjoying her life and going forward, she didn't stop at that. She formed this, and she's out there every day helping people pull themselves out of adversity, especially also the adversity of shame, so that when you come out of one adversity, another one does not hold you. And then you can really be truly free and be bold to speak like Laide and say, "I am aiming for happiness every day of my life." It is important that we are happy. It's important that we are fulfilling purpose. It's important that we are finding self and not letting the society define us. Again, thank you, Laide.
You're
So this
welcome.
is where we wrap up today's edition of Up You with Ezine. It's been another amazing one. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook at Up You with Ezine. Get copies of our books, Up You, When Adversity Fights, When Adversity Strikes, Fight, and our most recent book, Recalibration. In fact, that's what we're talking about here. You can recalibrate your life on a daily basis, every day if you have to, and change the trajectory of things. You don't have to go with the flow of what life has thrown at you if you're not loving it. And remember, happy should be in the middle of everything that you're doing with your life. If it doesn't bring you joy, if you're not happy about it, rethink, recalibrate. So get that book, yeah? Big up to everyone that is involved in creating this magic every week, starting with you, our dear faithful listeners. You come in every time. Thank you for joining us. I see many new people today. Laide, you're quite a force. Thank you, everyone who came in here on account of Laide. Thank you. Your best friend was here earlier. Too many messages. I think I've lost her, but she was hailing you as well. So thank you so much, everyone. Our guests, our advertisers, the callers, the engineers on duty, the amazing UpYou team. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Until I come your way next week, Wednesday, please stay inspired and keep making positive impact. Together, let's just keep triumphing and empowering each other. My name is Ezine Kufrekanem, and from Laide and myself, it's Up You. Good. Up You. Bye for now.